Okay,
Like,
how do we handle getting in front of the video every day? How do we handle getting up on a stage in front of thousands of people? And how do we handle busy, busy lives? Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Well. How are you, Mr. Novak?
good, Lisa Novak. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
In,
Um,
Interesting topic, awkward topic to talk about,
yeah, it is.
and its fear is, it's just, yeah, it's big. It's big. It's fear of the future. It's what they. I think fear of the future is anxiety, and fear of the past is depression.
So,
But
so they
dealing
say,
with the
yeah.
So they say, and we're dealing with the fears that we sort of encounter and we get asked by people, and mechanisms that we have in place and things that we do. Um, it's it's a secret to doing good at what you want to do good at if you can conquer the mountain.
Yeah, there's definitely like no perfect remedy for this. Um, the reason that we're actually addressing this today is we went to the Tessalon conference on Wednesday, and I was a speaker on the stage, and I want to address that in just a second. People were saying, "Oh my God, like, how do you get up and speak in front of thousands and thousands of people? You're just so natural at it." um, if someone had
You got James Bond behind you going like this at the moment, fearless.
yeah, that's the irony of it. But Mark, I mean, it's no secret you and I are married. If someone had said to me 5 years ago, you're going to get up on a stage and speak in front of 2,000 people, 6,000 people, I would have said, yeah, no, there's not a chance you are going to get me to do that. Um, Probably one of my biggest fears personally was public speaking. I know many people would find that hard to believe, but everyone is fearful of something, and that was probably one of my biggest fears. And so when,
I still carry it. I still carry it. Like
oh
I've
yeah,
done I've done 1,000 episodes almost of this, and
yeah,
I've got to tell you, you still shit yourself. Like it's less and less. But yeah, it's. I think it becomes part of you. You just got to eat the frog.
you just get used to it. But one of my first speaking gigs was Arik. Tom Panos had called me one night. I'll never forget it, and said, "Hey, and this is in 2021, and it said, "Hey, John McGrath and myself would love you to come speak at ARIC." Now, for those of you guys that don't know what ARIC is, it's the largest real estate conference in the world, that draws a crowd of about 6,000 people, and then there's online as well. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow, thank you so much. Like, what an incredible honor. That's amazing. Can we talk tomorrow? And I got off the phone and I called Mark and I was like, oh my God, Mark, you're not going to believe this. They've asked me to do Eric, and, I can't speak in front of all those people.
What flip
So,
side? No.
so that's it. Mark's like, well, like, you just have to do it. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I gave myself this personal challenge of just preparing for it. I don't know how you prepare to speak in front of 6,000 people when, I hadn't really done any form of public speaking before. And I remember turning up at ARIC, and the stage is what they call a box. And I had the flu so badly. And the stage is what they call,
Yes, you. I reckon you probably made yourself sick. Actually,
they're probably, and the stage is what they call a boxing ring stage. And we had to go do a sound check the day before. And I said to the girl, excuse me, but does the stage stay like that, or do they sort of push it up against the wall? She goes, no, that's the stage. It's the boxing ring stage. I was like, okay, oh, awesome. And then
so
I
it's
remember,
even harder because you're talking to four different sides. So at any one time, someone's looking at you at the back.
Yeah. So I was like, what do you do? Like, because you got your back to someone all the time. Anyway, fortunately, we've got some great mates that have done an enormous amount of public speaking who gave me these great tips. They said, don't look into people's eyes, just sort of skim around the room. Best thing to do is look at people's foreheads. Because the minute you start connecting, people can actually throw you off. And it's true, they can. They said, just the normal things, take deep breaths before you get on. But one of our friends gave me a really, really good tip, Gavin Reynolds. And Jonathan Creek did as well, like these guys, and Lee Woodward. I mean, Rumer Mundy, there were some phenomenal people that have given me some amazing tips. But I loved Gavin's tip. He's a really, really well-known auctioneer in the Newcastle area. But he had said to me, you've got to walk on the stage like you own it, even if you feel you don't. So he said, walk out and you've got to almost swoop around the stage. And he said, mentally, you'll feel like you're in complete control of the stage and the crowd. So I remember getting on the stage, first time, guys, public speaking, 6,000 people at ARIC. I walked on the stage and I did this big walk around the stage. And I don't know, all of a sudden I was just like, I'm actually just fine with this. Something just dropped all of a sudden and I was fine.
That's good for you. And that's good for you talking to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. But people are dealing, and we're going to talk about fear in different ways in a second, but people are dealing with fear of just picking up a mobile phone and doing a live, or just doing
There's
any
no
sort of
question.
recording in themselves. And what your message is the same, whether it's 6,000 people or whether it's a you and your you staring at your mobile phone doing a live, or you doing a video for your clients. I think that if you really, really, really dig deep into your makeup of what you are and who you are, and let that be the drivers, and I think that with fear, everyone's drivers are going to be different, to actually break through to the other side. So your drivers to get in front of those people, we can't say, drink 32 glasses of water and you'll be okay. Like, drink a vodka and you'll be okay. Like, every single person is going to have different tools for dealing with these sort of fears, but it's actually digging deep and exploring and finding, which is what you're doing with these guys, talking to everyone.
Oh, there's no doubt. And guys, understand that Mark's quite right. Look, getting in front of a camera now just doesn't bother me at all. And familiarity breeds contempt, right? So the more you do, like I look at Tom Panos on a stage and, if someone said to him, do you get nervous? He'd be like, nervous about what? Yet you can see everyone backstage like going, like, breathing and psyching themselves into it. Oh, no. No, absolutely it does. But Mark, let me break this down.
When you just started just then, for instance, before you went live, you're like, is everything, all right? Like you're conscious, you're worried, you're bothered. You know what I mean? But it's breaking through it.
Yeah, but a camera doesn't honestly, it just doesn't bother me at all. Public speaking, absolutely, I still get nervous, but it was one of my biggest fears. Like, absolutely no doubt about it. But here's what I want to tell you guys and how I've broken this down. It's actually worse inside your head than actually doing it. It is worse 100%. Inside your head than actually doing it.
100%.
I want to draw on an analogy, Mark. I want to draw on an analogy. And our 17-year-old daughter, she's going to kill me for using her as the analogy. But she came to me the other night, absolutely stressed out of her head. She wasn't prepared for an exam. And she was really stressed. She's doing year 12 at the moment, and she's not a stressful sort of kid. Anyway, we were quite surprised to see that she was this stressed, right? So anyway, I sat her down. I said, look, what is it that you've got to do tomorrow? She's like, I've got to do this exam and I've got this assignment. I said, okay, let's get rid of the thing that's the easiest. Let's sit down. I'll help you cut out the bits and pieces for the assignment. And then I said to her, I can assure you that what is going on inside your head is far worse than actually doing the exam itself. even if you get 10% and you're not prepared, it's going to be far worse inside your head. So I spoke with her the next day. The exam was at 3:30. I spoke with her at 5 o'clock and I go, how did you go? She goes, you know what? It was actually okay. I knew more than I thought I did. It was all right. I think I've passed.
It took over.
It's worse
It took
inside your head.
it took her over. How do we deal with mortgage stress?
Well,
Because
that's a good.
that's really relevant at the
That's
moment.
probably a
I
better
think
question for you. How do you, Mark? No, I don't mean it that way,
I
guys.
like
I think
I think that, you know, if we're talking about fears, and I know we've talked about going on a stage, I know we've talked about going live, but I think again unpacking and digging deep on fears, like at the moment a lot of people are feeling that, and much
100%.
right, and much like we're feeling it, I think you know
Everyone's feeling it.
anyone with a mortgage
No one gets out
is
scot-free on this one.
no one gets free
No.
ride. Little mortgage, big mortgage. I still think people's emotions are high. Um, I do think that what actually is tricky for me is as you get older in life, like particularly with mortgage stuff, things change and the environments change, people change, work changes, and it's so it's never the same set of tools that you're using. Um, or it's never the same things that I've used from my 20s to my 30s to my 40s. So in terms of dealing with that fear
Yeah.
of moving forward, so it's that skill set that you've talked about with, you know, how big is it? And I think a lot of people at the moment are looking at their mortgages and going shit, 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 shit.
You can't,
They
but can I just say, you can't apply the same strategy. So the fear of getting up on a stage and speaking in front of 6,000 people or talking to your camera and going out to the world, it's not the same fear, right? It's not the same stress. This is a very different stress. So this is more of a long-term thing. Getting up on a stage is a 20-minute, half an hour thing. You know, you get off and you're like, oh my God, that actually felt so good. What a sense of accomplishment. Look at all these people I was able to help. This fear with mortgage stress is very different. And FYI, guys, I was only joking a moment ago when I said this is Mark's problem. This is our problem. You know, we feel it, believe it. Um, it usually it's short term, and you've got to work out how can you ride this wave. What are the things that you can do to help you ride the wave? And make no mistake, we've reined it in as well. There's been no luxury holidays. You know, there's been, you know, more eating at
Ooh,
home.
that's really reining it in, Lisa.
No, but I'm just saying, Mark, and everyone, no, come on, everyone deals with it differently. Like, you know, there is,
Look, I
no,
think
but what the point I'm making is no one gets out of this scot-free. Like, no one does.
that you build a toolbox with fear. You build the toolbox to go to war against it, and that toolbox stays with you. And the toolbox is always getting built. It's forever changing, but you got to make sure you build a really good toolbox. And I think a lot of people can think they're alone. A lot of people can think that they're different. Sometimes they are alone, sometimes they are different, but I think you build your own toolbox and nobody can build that toolbox for you. So I think with, you know, for instance, and that's what I mean about things changing from mortgage, for me in particular with the mortgage, dealing with mortgage stress, from 20s to 30s to 40s, it's a completely different toolbox what's inside
Oh,
it
yeah.
now. Do you know what I mean? But you completely, I'm always working on it, and like some of those things that you've spoken about, stuff has to be cut off and hit the floor that you want that you can't have, and that may be certain foods, that may be certain restaurants, that may be certain you know, things that you do that you just
But
have to
guys,
go
Mark, I just
build
want
that.
to say on this topic, because this is a very different topic to what we were going to talk about. We've sort of just flipped it around. This is a very, very, very delicate topic. This is a topic that actually affects people's livelihoods.
Yes.
So, you know, But I want to just draw back to last week when I had a client who called me, and he was enormously stressed that he couldn't settle on a property. Now I have, I ended up putting him in touch with some phenomenal people who fortunately were able to help him. So the best thing that I can say to you guys is don't try and go through it alone. There are
That's
people out there are people out there that can help you.
Yeah.
We have a wonderful, wonderful network of people that we do not get paid a single cent for referring you to. So I ended up hooking him up with an incredible mortgage broker, and put him in touch with an accountant, and I also put him in touch with a phenomenal solicitor. Now these guys threw him a lifeline. They really did. And we dig deep, Mark, and make sure that the people that we have within our network are phenomenal people, and that their number one motto is helping people.
I think that's powerful what you've said. I think that as soon as you don't share your toolbox, open your toolbox, show your toolbox. As soon as you don't start letting people around you know what you're going through. So if you have to think about what you were saying about all the people you spoke to that helped you, all that conversation first started with I'm shitting myself. And then they're like, hang on a sec, let me help you. Let me give you some advice. And I think on all aspects, and I know Bronwyn's brought up some
I want to just bring that comment again. I have real concern for people are overcommitted financially and the side effects devastating and dangerous. Actions, domestic violence, child violence, suicide, mortgage, and there is absolutely no doubt about it, Bronwyn.
It's real.
It's real. And we do a lot with the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter. This is a phenomenal organisation, who just simply don't have enough money to house a lot of women. And, you're quite right. I mean, look what COVID did, with domestic violence. Again, that's just a topic for a whole other day. And it's, I don't even know if we're set up to be able to speak on that kind of thing.
They're all interlocked, and I think hopefully today that just a bit of bit of confessions of what we do can help people. Don't know if it has or hasn't. I don't know, but I hope it does. And a big key thing is you got to keep building that toolbox against that fear. And I think a big thing for me is sharing. That whatever you're actually moving through at that time on your journey, you just share it with people, and people will genuinely
the biggest one.
help.
That's the biggest one, guys. So even if we look at the small things, which are big things to some people, like getting in front of a camera and how do you overcome that fear, or whether or not it is getting up on a stage and talking in front of 6,000 people, and how do you best overcome that fear, or the complete polar opposite of fear where people literally just don't know how they're going to go day to day surviving because things are that tight. You've got to get out and you have to talk to people. That is the most important thing, because there are people out there that are going to offer you advice. And as I said, it is honestly worse inside your head. And for some reason, it's just a whole lot worse at night when it's a lot darker and a lot quieter. It's a lot worse inside your head at night. So definitely talking it through with people. And for those of you guys that are out there that are watching this that are really feeling the pinch of that financial stress, as I said, I cannot reiterate it enough. We are fortunate that we have a network of some incredible people.
Call us.
And if we're able to give you those contacts and they can help, like that would just mean everything to us.
Yep. That's
it. That's a show. All right. That wasn't quite the show that I thought we were going to have, but I hope my hope is that it's going to be able to help some people out there. That is the absolute main aim of this, without a doubt.
Okay, I'm dealing with fear.
Look at that. Wow. What a beautiful morning in the country.
The kangaroos. Kangaroo out there.
Oh, how cool.
Looking at the kangaroos.
Just how nice is that?
Just take it easy.
Is nice. Relax. It is nice to have some time out. It absolutely is nice to have some time out. You know, actually, we were going to wrap it up, Mark, but I just remember we were going to talk about busy lives and how people handle those. It is, it's time for golf. Having a little bit of just time out, like just putting that pause button on and just going, you know what, I'm just going to get off the merry-go-round for 5 minutes. Really helps. Really helps. Getting out to the country, you know, just having a break, even if it's for a day or two, it definitely helps.
Toolbox workshop.
Love that. Love that. That's so cool. Love that. But yeah, just getting out and just having a little bit of, when nature calls. I tell you, when I'm really wanting just to have time out, that I want to head for the hills. I want to just get out to the country and just have a little bit of time out. It's slower there. The people are slower. They drive slower. I love that. That's beautiful. I feel relaxed just looking at it, Mark.
Yeah.
Awesome. So nice. Good on you. All right, guys, that is a show. Hopefully
Love
we've
ya.
got some people out there.
I hope so. See you guys. Have a great weekend.